I was gonna say, did you use it? What are you talking about?
So
right
what's
now?
wrong with
This
you?
is fun. I know exactly. Hey, this is a borderline stalker story. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I know
but
the game.
Tickets are on sale for KFC Radio Live. Click the link in the bio. Get yours. Come out and hang with the boys.
That was my man Bobby Fox.
good.
Yeah, this kid's great. Have you done anything with him before, or was this the first time?
That was I had met him before, but I had never done a
He's awesome.
interview yet. Yeah.
We got him. He was emailing us when he was 13 years old.
Oh my gosh.
To work for us. And then, he was emailing us T-shirt ideas, like put this on a shirt and sell it. And then he turned 18, got an internship. Was like, I think he went to one semester of college, and we said, "Fuck it, dude, just drop out." He's been here ever since.
That's so
It's crazy. He's been here like 10 years. He's still like 25.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
His big breakout was
Oh my God, dude, can we even say it?
I don't know, dude.
Actually, maybe. Yeah. So we can tie this in a little
we
bit.
can
very
tie some
loosely.
weird fucking shit in.
Where do you fall on the and this will make sense, this is not coming out of nowhere, where do you fall on the idea of fighters who what do they call it, like keeping your nut or something like that, you know?
Oh,
when you don't,
yeah,
when you
no
don't come
sex?
before your fight. Yeah.
I don't really ever think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I would-
So I'm definitely just like whatever.
I guess I understand the idea of like you probably just build up fucking testosterone, but to me I feel like you got to be like sharp and you got to be thinking clearly when you fight, and I would not be. I'd be like, oh God, I gotta
Well,
get this out of me.
what I honestly think the origination of it was, if you're a coach and you're like, hey, dude, don't go out there chasing girls,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you're chasing
so it
girls,
was
you're
more
most
that.
likely going to be partying,
Got
staying
it.
up
Okay.
late.
Right.
So
You know,
it's
it's
not
more
the
mitigating.
physiology of
Yeah,
it.
no,
It's
I don't. I could be wrong. You
Got
know?
it.
That's what
I'm sure there's
Lawrence
some
Taylor
kind of-
used to do that. LT
Really?
used to send hookers to
the other guys.
the other
yeah,
hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was gangster. That was
And then
gangster.
he'd find word of whether or not they went through with it or not. You know?
Yeah. You don't know the next day.
You know, NFL in the 80s, I'm sure they were all. This is all to say that when Bob was first interning, this is like probably highly illegal. There was a story like in the news about a guy who claimed he didn't ejaculate for like some crazy amount of time.
Wow.
It was like, he's like, wow, what the fuck is this? it was something silly, like hundreds of days, and we were like, that's not possible. So the new kid on the block was like, I'll be like your test, and he was like, I won't do anything with girls or myself otherwise. And he made it to 19 days, and then
He came into
Yeah.
the office. He was like, I came in my sleep last night. We were like,
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, yeah, that's the risk that you run, dude. It never ends. Just to let you know,
But anyway, it's crazy to open
That's
up with that.
freaking
But
yeah.
I
As
love
soon as
that
I
he was-
said it, I was like, why'd you say that, John? You
I know,
fucking
but
idiot.
that's what I'm saying. I love that he was just honest about it. He's like, well, nobody would ever know if I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
he was such a man of honor. I was like, you didn't.
Yeah.
You swear you didn't. He would always go, no cum out of this dick.
Yeah, that's why he's still here.
That's why, yeah.
loyal to
That's
the
right.
brand, man.
Right.
To the cause.
So you are, I guess, a coach / captain / mentor,
Coach.
everything, right? Coach right now,
Yeah.
up against McGregor.
Yep.
I mean, everybody knows what he's like as a fighter and a showman and all that. Now you're kind of seeing another side of him. I feel like your style was a little bit different, at least in the early episodes that I've seen, as
Yeah.
far as the way you guys approach it.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, for me, it was more about, it was all about my fighters, obviously. But when you go into this knowing who you're up against, I mean, it's Conor. He's very good with the camera. When the cameras come on, he's different than whenever he's just, he turns into the notorious Conor McGregor, the showman, right? And who he was on Monday could have been different than who he was on Tuesday, just to throw you for a loop,
Just to
show up on Wednesday spitting venom,
Yeah.
So you're kind of always on eggshells, but that's the beauty, and that was the exciting challenge of me going and doing this, being locked in Vegas for 5 weeks or whatever it was. So it was
That
it was
is a
fun.
frustrating part of doing content. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously you've done content in your life, but like when you're like, dude, this isn't who you are.
Yeah. I know you're faking it, but I can't really
It's just
blame
like,
you.
I understand we're both on a show right now, but God fucking damn it, I wish I could just say this isn't who you are.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing though too, because it was definitely filmed more like a sports documentary than it was a reality show in a lot of ways. There was no scripted, hey, this is going to happen, he's walking in here, or, hey, this guy's going to say this, make sure you do something, or, it was very just, hey, we're a fly on the wall, do what you're doing. But yeah, ultimately there was these certain things that we had to set up, like going into the coaches challenge or going into weigh-ins or whatever, where we'd be hanging out for 10, 15 minutes or whatever. And then be like, hey guys, it's time to go. And you kind of like jump around a little bit and then, get ready for the cameras, where I'm just like, I'm the same, and maybe I would be a better showman if I wasn't.
Yeah. I feel like you got to be you though. There's nothing, if you're Conor McGregor and you're a showman and you go make $1 billion doing it, obviously hats off,
Yeah.
But if you're not that and you try to be that, there's nothing worse.
Yeah.
I'd rather someone who's even keeled and just says like, here's how I do it. Maybe it's not the flashiest thing in the world, rather than you try to fake that, because you can smell that a mile away.
Yeah, you really can. And I think Conor has created a tough spot for a lot of these young fighters who come in and they think they need to create this brand or this persona.
Yeah, I bet.
And it just, if it's not you and you can't pull it off, it comes across inauthentic.
I noticed that in the first when you guys showed up to pick your teams, and it wasn't like over the top, but it was the, I forget his name, but it was the bald guy who ended up losing in the first episode. But he came in and he had on like nothing over the top, but like it was like a jacket. He was wearing the sunglasses inside, and I was like, "Why you're
trying to do a thing?
Like it is just
doing a bit,
fighting. Let's just fight.
Yeah.
Well, but I get it though. I mean, because you can be a mediocre fighter, but if you're an electric personality, you can probably make as much money, maybe even more money, than if you were a good fighter who keeps your mouth shut.
It's like the NIL deals now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm not that good, but I got a ton of TikTok followers.
I got a lot of followers. I know, I got charisma.
Yeah.
All that.
The younger generation understands that branding, social media, and just creating a persona more than, some other people did. But ultimately, me, I was like, hey, I'm going to just be who I am. And if I end up making a ton of money, that's great. If I end up underperforming or under earning, that's great. But at least I know I am who I am.
Did you?
And there's certain times too where people talk about my post-fight speeches where I, take the big inhale and start screaming in the microphone and calling out Conor and all these different things. That's something that I had never done before when I was in Bellator and now in the UFC. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, who you are is who you are.
It is. It's such like I guess cliched or like landing where you say like oh, I stayed true to myself, and that is like it is important because it just makes your life so much easier. Like when it's used, I always feel like it's almost kind of used as like a get out of jail free card, where it's like, well, I didn't have to do that, so like I stay true to myself. But it is like so much easier to get up in the morning,
but
and I just have to go be me today. And some days it's harder than others, but you at least know you don't have to do that extra thing that day.
Right. You can always be yourself. I can. Maybe people get tired of that, but if you like this will go on forever because I'm just being me.
Yeah. That's what I've always kind of focused on, and that's all not to say, just disclaimer, like I don't think you would ever say, well, Conor's two-faced or he's fake.
No,
you're right.
The people who understand. I mean, whenever Conor, it's almost like when he just wants to turn it on, he'll turn it on. And there was times where even in that very first scene in the first episode, we meet each other. We had met each other before, but we were kind of talking, and and everything was cordial until it wasn't. When he's like, "You do what you're told," and then it's like he goes, "Friends, enemies. What's going on here?" You're like, "What's going on here, dude?" And I'm just like,
"You're facing that one. He's gonna hit him in the back right now."
I was like, "He's gonna spear you."
I don't know. It's like you got to detach a little bit, but at the same, it's real, but it's not real. It's like, all right, I know you're hamming it up, but clearly. That's what you think. You think that you can do that to me. So now fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. So mine and Conor's relationship was very, I think, good during the season. Of course, there's little ins and outs of it all, and the ups and downs and the tension and whatnot. But ultimately, we have a ton of respect for each other, I believe. I have a ton of respect for him and what he's created, for the life that he has created. He's got a ton of respect for me and my resume and my athletic prowess, who I am as a fighter. And then we got to spend month and a half together out there in Vegas, and so it was fun.
And is there going to be a fight?
There's going to be a fight. Yeah.
It's still a little bit like up in the air.
Well, the fight
get back in USADA and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
so the timing of it is up in the air, but it's locked in that you guys will fight.
Yes, it's more the timing. You know, I mean, when you think about the UFC, the biggest mixed martial arts corporation or promotion on the planet, trying to put together Conor, myself. I mean, all these different cards. These guys are putting out fires nonstop. So they haven't even announced, October card, November card, let alone maybe if we fought in December based on USADA, if it's 6 months and all that kind of stuff. So I don't put too much stock into it. A lot of people are interested when it's going to happen. When's Conor coming back? When's our fight going to happen now that we're building it with the Ultimate Fighter and all that kind of stuff? So I understand people's eagerness to get the answers, but also you're just a victim of the circumstance of it all. I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm the guy. Conor's the guy. We're going to end up fighting sometime. Historically, the coaches of the Ultimate Fighter have never not fought, and I don't think Conor would ever want to delve into his legacy being tarnished by him coming back and not being the guy. So
that's got to be a fucking kind of a pain in the ass though, being in that. And I'm sure you've dealt with your whole life, so you're an expert. But like being in that waiting period where like I got to stay in shape because it might and not that you've ever let yourself go, I'm sure, but like
what's the most you've ever let yourself go? That's a good question.
It's a good question. Most of the time it's only been injuries. If I've ever had an injury, because one of the hardest things about fitness or staying in shape or living a healthy lifestyle, everybody knows it's much easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape.
That's right. That's my problem.
That's right. Exactly. So if I've ever had an injury where I broke a foot or I might have hurt a knee or whatever, and I'm out for 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, getting back, feeling the body fat and walking up the stairs and be like, I'm supposed to be a professional athlete, right? And,
I don't care who you are. Stairs kicks everybody's ass.
Exactly, So
the slightest incline. I'll talk to my mom on the phone. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Like, don't worry, I'm running, Mom. On mile 4. But I mean, I've had a couple injuries like that where I'm like, okay, I'm 195 and I'm a little chunky, a little rough around the edges, and definitely not in shape. Body starts not feeling so great because the more I train, actually, the better I feel from even muscle and tendons and ligaments and joints and stuff. That's a tough part about it all.
So the jump from Bellator, I feel like it's a big deal when I like you said, UFC is the biggest, and I think it's kind of like considered the major leagues, if you will.
Sure. And
there's always a question of like, well, can you do it? And then when you do it, that's got to feel great. That's got to be like a big fuck you to anybody who doubted it.
Yeah.
That's got to be big for the Bellator guys who are like, we told you, we're legit as they are. That's a big win for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was the
UFC too. They're like, yeah, sure, come on,
Yeah, and it was a tough decision too because I was leaving the virtual certainty of the rest of my career and an organization that I helped build. I helped build Bellator. They helped build me. It was a good symbiotic relationship, and I could have just wrote it out. Yeah. The rest of my career, making good money, I was being taken care of. But something in me knew that the 40-year-old me who was retired wasn't going to be able to sleep at night knowing, what if? What if I would have went to the UFC? What if I would have fought all the guys that I've fought in the last couple of years, the top 5 of the UFC in the lightweight division? And now we know that answer. Have I won every single time? No. But have I made people feel something? Absolutely. And do I feel great about my run thus far? It's been great. So it was a huge risk, but it was also a risk I took back when I was 18 years old. I walked onto the University of Missouri wrestling team, which has become the single most important thing that I've ever done in my athletic life. Choosing to not take a scholarship from one of the other schools that I got offers from, smaller schools, walking onto a Division I wrestling team, and now
that's crazy ballsy for a kid.
Like, I mean, I don't know why.
Your parents say something like that. We're like,
take the fucking
exactly. Yeah, I was like, I had a full ride to this NAIA school or Division III or whatever, and then like, okay, well, you want us to pay for Mizzou? And I'm like, well, I don't care. You can pay for it. I'll pay for it. I'll get student loans, whatever. I just feel led to go Division I and wrestle at Mizzou, and then it obviously worked out.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, guys I wrestled with, and then they started fighting, and that's how I ended up fighting. So this whole thing, the reason I'm sitting here today was because I took a chance on myself at 18. So why would I expect the 32-year-old me or whatever it was when I went to Bellator or went to the UFC to not make that same decision, not make that same leap of faith? And it's worked out well thus far.
You said something interesting where you were talking about laying in bed, being retired, and it's at 40. And like, is that something you think about?
Bro, I'm almost 40 right now.
Yeah. So am I, dude. I'm 37. Right. Most people don't think so because I came over to the UFC so late. They all think I'm like 30 years old. Yeah. Like, hey, don't tell anybody, but I'm 37.
But like when you're like in your young 20s, like, is that something you know and acknowledge and understand? Where you're like, like everyone knows that sports you don't play your whole life, but like, is it as active as it is in the front of your brain, where you're like, I have a tiny window here?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really did have a great perspective of it, knowing that my career wasn't going to be my career was going to be very much more finite than most people give it credit for. I knew I wanted to start setting things up. I wanted to start building the platform. I wanted to start having multiple streams of income and investments, and then have everything set up. Because I think it's a bad idea to have a fallback plan in certain areas or certain things, because that means you're not 100%. Yeah, you're not 100% invested. But I think I'm smart enough and well connected enough and have a great relationship capital and great people around me, and I've made some great moves in my life to be able to start setting things up for my swan song, for the next chapter. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. And I just knew, I always said 35 I was probably going to be done, and here I am 37 on the cusp of the biggest year of my entire life.
Yeah.
So
right,
you never.
Well, so does
You're going
that,
Brady with it.
Yeah, exactly.
does something like that though then feel like I got more years to do this, or this will be my swan song because you're doing something major?
No, I think with more platform and more notoriety and more attention comes more options. Having options in life is the best thing that you can possibly have. He who has no options is hitting a brick wall every single day, right?
Yeah.
So to have the options that are going to come from this Ultimate Fighter, ESPN all summer, plus fighting Conor this year, the biggest fight you could ever ask for, making good money, it's only going to lead to more opportunities. So I see myself saying yes to quite a few more fights. So we'll see.
Is the coaching thing more about the fight game or television? Because you talk about other revenue streams, and like you're good at this, you probably could have your own show. You could do more reality shows or fighting shows, and then probably branch out into non-UFC and MMA stuff. Like there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, definitely not coaching. For a guy who, I'm extremely passionate about my career, not to sound selfish, but I'm extremely.
Fuck yours.
But honestly, kind of.
Especially in the fight game, it's not a team thing. It's not. It's like
and
you do you, I do me.
And I will say, I fell in love with coaching my guys when I was there at the Ultimate Fighter. But doing that every single day, leaving my wife and kids, missing dinners, and missing my son's birthday because Cody is fighting. Like, I don't want to do that. Now, if I was making Bill Belichick money, maybe it's a little bit different, but mixed martial arts coaching is a little bit different than that,
You'll miss, you do miss family events and stuff, but when it's for your fight, you've deemed it's like worth it.
Yeah, because truthfully, I'm serving my family by not being there, and that as a dad is
totally.
It's how it is. I have to be selfish in order to be selfless. In order to give my full self to my family when it's my time, I have to also be selfish in my goals, my dreams, focusing on me because as we said, the 40-year-old me, I don't want to be laying my head on a pillow. I don't want my wife to lay next to the shell of a man that she married because I didn't pour into my entire career, that I didn't make the decisions that I needed to. So, I think
there was, I sorry to interrupt you. I was watching a show recently, and there was like a fight between a husband and a wife, and the husband was an athlete, and he didn't make it. He tore his ACL, didn't achieve his career, and they're in this fight, and he's like, I'm sorry I didn't make it. I'm sorry I didn't make top 10. He's a tennis player. And she's like, I don't care about that. I care that you gave up. And I was like, oh, that is like, I don't care that you weren't successful. I care that you stopped trying to be successful.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So
girl says that to you.
You're right. I'm a quitter.
Man.
But no, it's true. It's tough, and but so the coaching side of things, not really. But yeah, I mean, on the microphone, on camera, building other things, coaching people online, coaching masterminds, all of these different things. I'm going to speak at a conference this weekend. These kinds of events and stuff that I've had the great opportunity to be around a bunch of high functioning and individuals doing some stuff like that. While it helps me serve people, give back, make money, be on a platform, all those different boxes checked, So
and then you inevitably fight a YouTuber. When is that?
Inevitably. On my YouTube, my YouTube is growing. Okay, so I'm working on my YouTube. Maybe I'll get up to that couple mil and I can go fight some YouTubers.
Dude, you mentioned your wife earlier, and we had some show notes on this.
This is crazy.
What do you mean you emailed with your wife for 2 years before you guys started dating?
Oh yeah, I envisioned marrying her 5 years before that.
I was gonna say, did you use it? What are you talking about?
So
right now?
wrong with
this
you?
is fun. I know exactly. Hey, this is a borderline stalker story. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
but
know the game.
no, listen, I'm just telling you. Hey, it's weird when you know. It's I chipped this tooth right here at Mizzou Wrestling. Mizzou Wrestling, the University of Missouri, sent me to a dentist named Dr. Willett, and I knew who he was. He had a great reputation in Columbia, Missouri. He was a Bible study leader to my Bible study leader. I end up sitting there in his office, in his waiting room, looking at these pictures of this cute girl in these pictures of him. And I'm like, man, is that his daughter? She's hot, if she's anything like him, I want to marry her. So I ended up having a bunch of friends, and they kept talking about her because they knew her. They kind of grew up with her and ran in the same circles. We ended up having some mutual friends on Facebook. I finally just messaged her years later on Facebook after I had been to her house at a birthday party one time, but she wasn't there. I envisioned myself fishing on this pond in her backyard, and now I have now married her, and I fish on that pond in the backyard.
No way.
I'm not joking. Borderline stalker, right? But also, it was just the
from a
intuition.
picture?
Yeah, it was just the intuition. I mean, but obviously back then too, it was okay. I could see her stuff on Facebook.
Of course, but you
And
never had met her in person.
Had never met her. I had only heard things about her from other people, and you can tell a lot about somebody by how the way that other people talk about them, right?
For sure,
plus she had a phenomenal dad, and I'm like, well, he'd be kind of a cool father-in-law. Now he's not your father-in-law. But then finally Facebook message, and then she was applying for an ER critical care residency at the University of Missouri. So she was married to medicine, didn't care about guys at all, wasn't dating or whatever. And then finally we messaged back and forth. She'd wait like 2 months to email me back. I'd email her back right away. She'd wait another 2. Yeah, just stringing me along.
Hell yeah.
Stringing the boy along.
2 month email, bro. If I don't email in 5 minutes,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I always did. Like, I probably had my notifications on. Okay, well, that's great. And then finally, Caldy's Coffee in Columbia, Missouri. She finally said yes to coffee with me. She gave us like 1 hour before I had to go to practice. This cute little silhouette walked in, and I said, well, there's my wife. And then she fell in love with me right there. And that's how I tell the story. I was already in love with her.
It took a few more years.
Yeah, it took a little while. And then now we're married. We got 2 beautiful boys. And it was, like I said, it's a borderline stalker story, but also the power of manifestation, too.
That is
so funny, though. Like, you tell that story in that light, and it's like a rom-com. You tell the story of like, I mean, he wouldn't stop emailing me.
Yeah, exactly.
I finally had to say yes because I was afraid.
Yeah, pretty much how it was. I mean, and it could have ended up that way. And then we could have had one date, and she's like, "Guy's a creep." I would have not stopped. I swear, I think I'm supposed to marry you. I think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to leave me alone. No, I didn't. It took a while.
And then you can tell it another way where you envision this life you had, and it's just like, it's just heartbreak.
Yeah,
because I've had that. Yeah. Not to like where I was like, oh, I could do this. Like this works for me. And then like a week later, she's like, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I know. You're like, I feel like we had something. It's like every rom-com of the breakup. It's like, I could have swore we were on the same page. She's like, no, we were like,
I really
on 2 completely different streets.
I got a pretty good radar. Are you sure? She's like, I'm sure.
It is funny for me to think of you guys as, like, when you got a crush on a girl, or you're like chasing after her, and I'm sure you're being all cutesy and schmoopy, and you got to play the game and do the flowers and gifts and poems and whatever the fuck you got to do. But then you're like, okay, cool. Like, all right, I got to go like maybe beat someone to death.
Yeah, I literally have to go try to dismantle somebody with my bare hands. I would never do it to you. But this guy signed a contract. No, that was one thing too that, obviously that was one thing. She's like, well, this guy, she Googled me, and I had,
especially being in the medical field.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, oh, this guy, he's probably, dating all the girls and blah, 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 and he's probably got anger issues and all these different things. And then, so I started like way out in left field. I had to like claw my way back to just being a normal dating status with her. Like, she was like, I'm pretty sure you might be a serial killer until proven otherwise, because she didn't know mixed martial arts. She wasn't a fan, had never even seen a fight before, so she didn't really it's not like you get to meet a mixed martial artist every day, and you're like, okay, they're more normal than I thought, right? So it took a little while.
But the people who take it seriously are probably the most even keeled, and it's about control and all that shit.
Pacifist. I mean, I'm the most pacifist.
When was the last time you were in a non-sanctioned fight, like a street fight?
Never.
Never, like a playground, young kid, 8th grade, throwing.
I was always too afraid to get in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there was one time where I kind of got some hands on a guy when he was doing something. He was a real drunk guy back in college, but it wasn't like a, brawl, like we were both fighting. But, I was always just so afraid of getting in trouble, cops pulling up and all that other stuff. But I was kind of a big sissy.
Dude, I'm glad you just said big sissy, because I just did maybe my big sissy moment. I was fiddling with my watch, and I saw
that.
I pinched a little bit of skin and went,
I saw it. He did big time. You're over here talking to me about being one of the toughest guys on the planet. He's like, oh God, it pulled one of my hairs. I pulled one of my hairs.
I saw that.
We were looking at it. I think you saw that.
I saw it for sure. I was like, okay, don't make a scene, all right? Make him feel tough. Yeah, make him feel tough. The mic just poked me in the eye. I go blind. Ooh. Yeah, exactly.
That's smarted.
He's like, I could fight in a cage.
I don't know how you guys, I stubbed my toe and I'm like,
dude,
it hurts and I hate, it ruins my, the tolerance for pain whether it's training, getting punched in the fucking face, getting your arms, broken in half. I don't know how you do it, man. Well, you guys are not normal. You're not normal.
No, definitely. But one of the things I love about the sport, one of the craziest misconceptions is that it hurts in there. You don't feel a thing inside. Actually, adrenaline is going. It's after
the next day
when it wears off about an hour or two later. You're like, I feel like I got hit by a bus. Yeah. But for the most part,
I guess that makes sense. That's why Conor can do an interview sitting on the floor with his leg broken because you're not even thinking.
And I'm sure it hurt that night.
You just said getting hit by a bus. Like I always thought about that with Brady, where like they say with the force of a car of a D end coming off the edge is like getting hit by a car. So like theoretically a quarterback gets in 3-4 car accidents every Sunday. Which is
I don't know if I believe that. By the way, it's like okay, go get hit by a fucking car. Let's see.
We'll film it. We'll film it.
I mean, it's a car. You're in a car too, so like it's a car.
Oh, okay. It was like you just get whacked by a fucking sedan.
Like the car accident.
Yeah.
But like, do you know what that level of pain you take is? Like has any scientist come up with an actual remember the ESPN Sports Science back in the day? That it's actually the turbulence of an F-18 or whatever. Yeah,
they've definitely done. They've definitely done some sports science type of stuff. I mean, obviously, guys hit hard, and we're wearing 4-ounce gloves. It's no joke. But the human body is a beautiful thing, man. It's a tough, durable thing.
How do you deal with the like we're talking about? I can fight in a cage, blah blah blah. And I think now most people do know that you can't fight in a cage. But the one I do always hear still is I wouldn't tap.
Oh yeah.
I just pass out.
Bro,
what do you think when someone says that?
like the average person?
Yeah.
No, I mean, definitely the average person.
I would probably pass out because it would happen so fast.
I wouldn't have a chance to
tap. But
I would never tough it out.
No, it's definitely, and I've had numerous fights where I probably should have tapped and I didn't, but I was able to get out and then either won the fight or lost. But, it's
Jesus
with the average
Christ.
person. Yeah, I mean the average, just like the average armchair quarterback. I could have threaded that needle, Brady. What are you doing? It's like,
well, but that one at least the tapping is mental. It is like
a tap when you're getting choked versus like I'm bending your arm and it's about to snap. I think is very different.
Well,
that's because the pain will make you just be like But I think there might be a little bit more of an element of like, I can do it. And then you're out. But all of it to me. Right.
See, the fact that we're even having a discussion right now is my point.
Well, the thing about mixed martial arts too is you obviously don't think about getting caught in an arm bar, heel hook, or whatever, one of those things. But you get caught in a heel hook and he tears your ACL, you're out for 9 months. You can't provide for your family for 9 months. Yeah. You get choked out, you can fight 15 days later. Maybe so 30 days later. So you don't. It's like, okay, if I pass out, I'll pass out, whatever. But if I'm about to get my limb broken, chances are I probably wouldn't tap because I'm an idiot. But it just depends on what's going on in the moment. But you definitely don't want to take an injury for no reason.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never even thought about that. We're like, this is I gotta live to
fight again,
right?
Yeah. Or complete what do you call it? Like complete reconstruction of your elbow. You're like, no thanks.
Once you go down that road, have you had any major surgeries or anything?
No, luckily,
once that starts, it kind of is tough.
Yeah, luckily I've had a couple meniscus tears here and there. I've needed some stem cell shots or cortisone shots here and there, but luckily I've been very fortunate. I broke my orbital bone once. So that was pretty tough. But that
I remember my face.
I forgot about that one. But that just heals on its own. So it was good. No
You can't put that
surgeries.
in like a cast or anything.
No,
right?
you just
sit there.
and squint for a couple weeks, and you're like, I swear my nose is really draining right now. What is going on here? And it was like the blackest black eye ever, too. It was like the color of this microphone.
Oh, God.
Dude, I saw you. I don't know if we met. We might have just said a quick hello. Like a year ago in Tennessee, I was at a bar in Nashville. I was there for like the Bussin' did like a little thing at one of the bars, and I went over to the Titans game. And you in the bar, you were in shorts, and this is almost like how you met your wife. Very similar. Where I just couldn't stop looking at your legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you walked in here, and you have the fucking jacked ass. What the fuck do you do with your legs, dude?
Dude, I've been squatting heavyweight since I was like 15 years
It's
old.
fucking
I like
insane. I thought
squats.
maybe like I was with my dad. Me and my dad were like, look at this fucking guy's legs.
Thank you. I mean, I got some tight jeans on. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I got some tight jeans on.
If
but-
you got him, show
you
him,
know,
man.
but yeah, I mean, I lift a lot of lower body, man. A lot of single leg stuff, RDLs, deadlifts, trap bars, squat.
I do like
I know
20
what you're
squats
saying,
every
bro.
morning. It's like I'm fucking.
There you go. Yeah, get on that Walk On Fitness, man. I got my Walk On Fitness app. We got a nice nice leg program on there for you.
All right, that's what I'm gonna get going.
Get some big old legs.
Yeah, me too, me too.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna start working out 6 days a week. Oh, never mind.
I was at the Garden. What was it, like a year or two ago? You put on like the fight of the year. Everyone said,
Justin
right?
Gaethje?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I think that was my introduction to you because I'm more of a casual fan, and that was seeing. It was also my first event live.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
so
MSG is
so
the
I
joke.
got spoiled. It was like we got hooked up from Uncle Dana. We got like nice seats. We got at the Garden, and I mean you put on a fucking show, man.
Dude, that one was nuts, man.
Yeah.
That was one where I look back and say, man, that dude is a psychopath. Like who I am when I step in there is completely different than who I am here.
Really feels that way.
But in there, I'm just like, I want the blood, I want the violence, I want to freaking punch my hand through your face. You
How
know?
old are your kids?
6 and 1.
So 6 is like still doesn't quite,
Yeah,
daddy fights, but he doesn't quite understand it.
I've talked to him about it enough. He was at my Tony Ferguson fight, so he saw that front kick knockout. He was there for that. He was there for that one, and we go back and watch all the fights that I win. I don't ever show him my losses, or any bloody ones. Oh, Dad's never lost, dude. But he's watched me train. He comes to Florida with me, and he'll stay there for a week or two with me and watch me train, and he understands it, which I think is a great thing for him to see me hit people, but know it's completely different than if he hit.
Well, that was
his-
my question.
you know?
It's like
Yeah.
that's hard to necessarily
Yeah.
compute. Where it's like don't ever hit anybody.
Yeah.
But also I do it for a living.
Also, well, it's like I get paid to do it.
Yeah.
This is how
like
Daddy,
you said,
Yeah,
that guy wrote his name down on a piece of paper.
yeah, exactly. He signed
The
it.
kid on the playground didn't sign a contract.
Exactly.
Walk around playground like a foreman. He's got a
Yeah,
bill
he's like-
pad.
He's like,
you want to go?
Will you sign
wanna
this
go?
contract? Boom.
Yeah. I got gushers in my lunchbox tonight. Winner gets them.
I think I've just been talking to him about it a lot since he was real young. I
Yeah.
think we, my wife and I both talk to our children like they're adults. Maybe that's the
I-
right way to do
I
it.
don't
Maybe
know.
it's
Yeah,
not. But
I
we
go
just
back and forth on that because sometimes I'm like,
you got to shield
almost
them
like
from some
talking
things.
about them
Yeah.
makes it a thing, whatever the subject is.
Yeah.
Right now they don't know about it, or they're casually just talking about it, and it's innocent. The minute that I start to try to like educate you on this
Yeah,
grand topic, then all of a sudden it becomes an issue,
it's true.
But like there was some kid, my son's turning 6, and the other day he told me some kid pushed him, and I was like, all right, whatever. And then it happened like a few more times, and I was like, okay, next time you kick him in the fucking face. I didn't say that. I'm thinking that. I'm like, but like what do you? I was like, I said to him, if he puts his hands on you, you push him back, like get him away. Don't let him do that to you. And then I said, like, next time we were talking through, I was like, and if he like hits you or puts his hands on you, you're gonna? And he goes, tell the teacher. And I'm like, no. We went over
It's a
this.
tough one, man.
We
because
went over this.
That was what my son's response was too. Like, I'm gonna go tell the teacher. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want him to tell the teacher too much.
Yeah, you don't want to be that kid.
But then you also don't want to get into a fight. So it's
Yeah,
hard.
it
Being
really
a parent
is.
is the hardest thing because
Yeah.
you're riding the fine line. Well, I know what I would do. I would freaking kick him in the face, like you said. But you're like, okay, well,
Right.
he's 6. Let him go through the series of vicissitudes that lead
Yeah.
to him becoming a good man at some point.
Right.
But right now, what's the right thing? I don't know. Okay, tell the teacher once, tell the teacher twice. If he keeps doing it, you punch him right in the sternum.
Break his arm. I've always said we do a series of questions here that are like hypotheticals, and one of them is, would you rather like be a world-class chef, a world-class dancer, or a world-class fighter?
Okay.
And I always said my answer is always world-class fighter, and I feel like if and not that I would fight, like I wouldn't just go around fighting people, but I've always thought, knowing that in every situation I can handle myself, and for the most part, every single room you've ever walked into, you can beat up everybody there, right? And that just translates into confidence in everything. You know what I mean? And not like we're not gonna fight right here today, but you walk in here just being like, I don't know, if shit ever went crazy, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I think that just, you have this air about you and everything else in life where it's like, if it all goes down, I'm good.
Yeah,
and I think that, like, is that even in your head anymore, or is it just like that's so who you are that you don't even think about it anymore?
It's definitely not in my head. I think more than anything, I think about if something happened right here, how many people I'd be able to protect because of what I've done. I think we all want to be a hero.
It's like Mark Wahlberg saving 9/11.
Yeah, right. Like exactly. Like all of us, especially men. The man's heart was designed for a battle to fight, an adventure to have, and a beauty to win, and that's ingrained in us in every single thing that we do. And we as men these days, we don't have enough battles, we don't have enough adventures. So for me, I get to have that battle every single day, which is also
an ex-wife, bro.
Yeah, which is also an adventure. Exactly. So it's like, I if I had to choose, yes, I would definitely still want to be a fighter. Because it does carry over into everything, and also the multitude of onlookers who have that same kind of viewpoint where they're watching you, but it's also a metaphor for life.
Yeah,
the battles that they're going through, the battles that they have gone through, the battles that they're prepared to go through in the future, as well as it's a really kind of a cool thing. I mean, going to that UFC fight, man, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a really cool event. So to think that I've done it now 31 times is a crazy huge blessing. Especially now the last 5 inside the UFC, the 6th one against Conor later this year. It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, I nowadays you don't even know who. It used to be like a certain size and a certain look, and now with MMA, there's different. I could be a striker, I could be a wrestler, I could be this jiu-jitsu, Brazilian, this and that. So it's like height doesn't necessarily matter, size doesn't matter, look doesn't matter. There's people out there who will fucking break your arms. I love Robbie saying, I will break both your arms and leave you in a pile.
I love those videos out there these days too, where it's like you never know who you're messing with, and like some big old dude messes with some tiny little dude who ends up putting him in a chokehold and choking him out unconscious.
That was the big one. Was the one where like everyone thought it was Askren, right?
That one. It was
A&M bar,
Alabama.
It was great. He's like, this was not me. Yeah, those dudes were on the football. I think it was Nebraska, the football guys, and they just got fucking.
Yeah, there's actually a video of my.
And they even looked at each other. And they were brothers. They were like, all right, let's do this.
One of the guys on my team on the show, Jason Knight. There's a video of him out there fighting. I think he gets pushed into a stall. I think his foot goes into the toilet. He's just fighting his way out of a stall. It's actually pretty sweet. He all got caught on camera.
Jason Knight, sounds awesome.
Jason Knight. He I don't know when he fights on the show, but he's on the show, and he's been fun to watch.
I always say, like, I do a scan if I see any cauliflower ear. I'm out. Nice to meet you, sir. What can I get you a drink?
It's such a funny. People come up to me all the time and be like, "Hey, wrestler." BJJ, fighter. I'm like, well, fighter. I'm saying fighter, but I got the ears from wrestling. That's what I always say. So
how does that work, by the way? Like when you're younger, like it's just from, just like slowly over time
getting hit. Yeah. So essentially, the skin breaks away from the cartilage and it fills with fluid. Because it swells up.
Yeah.
Just like your nose, you can get cauliflower nose. I've actually, my septum is swollen up big time too. Between you have to like drain it and stitch it. Cartilage and skin is kind of a nasty thing when it gets hit. So then it just kind of stays big like this, and it's really hard. And
and now
it'll be like this forever.
After that, it's no pain or anything after that. Like
no. Every now and then it'll re-break, like kind of inside or whatever, and it kind of turns purple and swells up a little bit, but then it goes down. But right now, I'm about 96%. 98% cauliflower.
Golly.
Still waiting for that 2%.
Does that fuck with your hearing?
What's that?
Is that a joke, or you really? I said, does that fuck with your hearing?
What? That's the best joke. That's the one you're always waiting for. Like, man, can you hear out of those things?
He really had that.
Yeah.
Can you hear out of those things? Huh? What's that? Come again?
How many times have you done that in your life? 1,000, million,
At least 1,000.
Yeah.
Because that's always the
second one
question.
got me, yeah.
That's always the question that they ask. Can you hear out of those things? Huh?
We've just been having a conversation. I can obviously hear.
Yeah, you haven't not heard me one time this entire conversation.
Oh man,
It's crazy, man. So I guess that we don't know when it'll be, but we know the Ultimate Fighter is on for a few more
episode
weeks.
3 last night.
Episode
right?
3 was last night. Team Chandler's now 3-0. Sorry for the spoiler alert.
No
to those.
way.
But yeah, so we got 9 more episodes left, and then we'll be finding out when me and Conor are fighting. Hopefully soon.
Very cool.
You know, sometime by the end of the year.
All right, so because there's all these YouTube, all these amateur type things going on. If you were gonna have one of those fights, who's someone you would want to fight?
Oh, like a YouTuber, one of those.
It doesn't have to be YouTuber, just like it could be an actor. It could be if there was anybody out there that we could do one of these pay-per-views and you're gonna get paid for it. And there's going to be a whole build-up, and then you get to beat the shit out of somebody who's an amateur.
Dang, that's tough because I would want it to be someone it would at least stand a chance because no, I mean,
what we need?
Could you do like we referenced Wahlberg earlier? And I'm not him specifically, but like those action stars who get like training. Obviously, I'm not saying that that they could ever fight or anything like that, but like. Would they give you even a chance? Like would they even give you would you break a sweat?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I will say, I did a scene with Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse. Obviously, he did Southpaw.
Yeah.
I mean, dude is jacked, awesome dude, and got hands, man. I sat there and watched a scene where he was hitting mitts and stuff, and he's got great hands. I think, they all need to be training that stuff. For sure.
Okay, your hands are quick, but you have no fucking idea what
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but also, it's they have to be able to at least look the part, to do it. And he said it numerous times, like, well, I got nothing to compare to you. I'm like, yeah, but dude, you got some great hands for an actor, a civilian.
If you could reverse time and do this for 30 years straight, you might be all right.
You're doing that's good. You just need 20 more years of experience, and you'll be almost as good as me.
Nothing as humbling as if when you're a regular person and you see someone hitting a bag, hitting pads, whatever, and you think it's like I can do that. And then you see yourself on a video and you're like, and you look so you make it look so easy when you're a pro.
It is tough. It is tough, man, because it's hard to really look good on the mitts unless you. Sometimes I feel like you just got it or you don't, and then it takes a lot of practice to look normal or good.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some where I'm like, woo, that's rough, man.
I'm waiting for what we need because the boxing thing is interesting because it levels the playing field a little bit when there are certain restrictions,
Yep.
And like the Paul brothers can learn, they're big dudes. They can pack a punch, and then you learn a little bit, and it's enough that you can get by.
Yeah.
I want someone to fight MMA, and I want to see someone lose in 1 second.
Yeah.
I want to see. I mean, you would beat them in a matter of seconds, right? It would be like I'm either breaking your bones or knocking you out immediately.
Yeah, or even just the hard part too is even just the mentality going into a mixed martial arts fight. So when you look at a boxer, there's only 2 weapons, right? He can only hit me with his right hand or his left hand. In mixed martial arts, you got 4 limbs plus the elbows and the knees plus the takedowns. And then once you get him to the ground, you can beat him up from the ground, or you can submit him, or you can push him up against the cage. I could submit somebody with just my forehead up against their chest on the cage, and they would pass out right there, and I wouldn't even be able to have to use my hands. Type of scenario, those kind of things. Whereas in boxing,
you'll just push your head into a chest so much that I can't
or the neck, you neck. Hit you do something.
I almost want,
or at least make a tap.
Imagine that if I was just like,
what if?
But all that to say, there's just so many more weapons and so many more things to think about. So when you think about. When you see somebody really, really tired in a fight, it's not because they're not in shape most of the time. It's because their heart rate gets elevated. Things are going on inside their mind. Their blood pressure is high. They're not. They don't have bad cardio, but they have a lot of physiological things happening in their body. Whereas boxing, you're just like, okay, I see this, and then that's it. Whereas mixed martial arts, you're like, okay, what's going on? It's kind of like
impossible to stay calm,
remember Chris Tucker in the movie with him and Jackie Chan,
Rush Hour.
He's like, which one of y'all kicked me? Where's it coming from? Like, dude, I was looking over here. You kicked me in the leg. What's going? There's so many weapons to think about.
When a match starts for you, a fight starts for you? Are you is your heart racing or are you like calm?
No, calm.
Really
calm. And
like
then,
as calm as you are right now, like resting heart rate, sort of just like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, pretty calm. And then you go out there, then hopefully you land the first punch. If not, you get landed on you, and you're like, okay, now we're going.
Yeah.
Then it goes from 0 to 60. Then you go to 1,000. Then you're redlining the whole time. You pee blood a couple rounds later.
That's funny.
Go back to the locker room. You're like, my pee is red. This is great.
God damn.
When you talk about like having someone against your head in their chest or head in their neck, I was thinking what I would do there. And I'm glad you said pee, because that was the first thing that came to my mind.
You'd pee on him?
What if I peed?
You might. I'm sure I've peed in the middle of a fight.
You don't know if you peed in the middle of a fight.
A little tinkle. Not like a full bladder.
What if you're like choking me out? What if you're choking me out and I just go, dude, I'm pissed.
I'm pissed. Then you take a dump in your pants. When you get choked out like that, you could just take a dump in your pants.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't happen often.
Is there anything someone could say, like they whispered to you, you're like, ah, get the fuck, what? Like it took you out. You're in animalistic mode. There's nothing that. What could you laugh? Could you possibly laugh?
I've heard guys fart in the middle of a fight, though.
Really?
Yeah. Heard a guy fart, and I was like, oh, that was cool. like, that's a new experience. Never heard that before. Or I'm sure I farted in fights too, but I probably don't remember. But I obviously heard whenever they did.
That's a new experience.
So you
just a man on an adventure.
We're just exploring each other right now in front of all these people and cameras. We're good, man.
This is the Greeks intended right now.
Exactly.
When you get that tap, like your brain knows to stop.
Yeah.
Like that's so weird to me, because like.
Yeah, you definitely keep squeezing until the ref touches you and pulls you off.
But even then, is that something you have to train yourself to let go, like, or you just know? Because you know what I mean. There's other parts. He's hitting you. You're just crazy. I want to fucking kill this guy. And then, but you have to know that means let go.
It's never the tap that you actually feel. You don't feel the tap. You legitimately just keep squeezing or punching until the ref pulls you off.
So because you feel that,
yeah, you'll feel him, and he'll either jump in between you guys, or if it's a choke, it's usually like, okay, that's it. Then you let go, and then you just say, thank God, dude. Because thank God this is over.
I can't imagine the feeling of winning a fight. Like,
oh man, well,
each and every time I'd be like, this is my last one. I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. Well, it's not even the win so much as it is just the 0% chance of losing, because that's the hardest part about mixed martial arts. It doesn't matter if I'm 1,000 to 1 favorite and me and you step inside the cage. Like, there's still a chance that you could beat me. Now, in the sense that you could accidentally somehow by the grace of God clip me and I go out. We all got a button, but that's why we love mixed martial arts. That's why we love watching it, right? So you can always slip on a banana peel. You can always make a bad move and get caught and have a bad night or have a bad moment. But as soon as you get pulled off, the ref pulls you off, and you're like, oh God, thank God I can't lose anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not even happy that I won as much as I am relieved that there's no chance of losing anymore.
That's an interesting way to say it, because I've heard the phrase before.
It's so uncertain at all times,
right. But I've heard before, like, I hate losing more than I like winning.
Yeah.
But I think that's a more relatable, understandable way to say it, where it's like, it's not that I'm going to be angry that I lost. It's like, I'm nervous that I'll lose.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
worried
especially
that
this
I'll
when
lose.
you fight maybe a couple times a year. Probably often a lot of people just like one big one,
2,
right?
3.
And then you train so much, and it might be over in 10 minutes, might be over in 10 seconds. Like,
could be.
Like when Ben gets fucking flying knee in the face in 10 seconds, like, oh, that was 6 months of my life or whatever. I put my body through hell for that.
Yeah, all the sacrifice. All the sacrifice, all the, me, I have to be away from my family most of the time when I'm training and stuff, and just feeling like you let them down, the impending fear and doom and doubts and insecurities and the pain and all that stuff you're going to have to go through if you do lose, and it's always there in the back of your mind. It's like you kind of make friends with it, but as soon as the fight is over and you've won, you're like, thank God I don't have to talk to fear and doubt, insecurity and pain and shame and guilt and all these different things that I know have been sitting there. I can put them away under my bed for 6 months at least,
Totally.
So maybe it's just a very kind of human way to look at it, but it's, of course we love winning and I love doing the backflips and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, okay, thank God I can't lose anymore.
I like that a lot.
It's over somehow.
Crazy. All right, last question for you, because you are so calm in a situation that I think the rest of the world would be nervous in. What makes you nervous? Like a similar type. If you had to go do something and you'd be like, no way.
I would say public speaking before, but I've gotten so accustomed to it now, speaking, whether it be on stage doing a keynote or with like a Q&A type of scenario. Yeah. I honestly think a lot about the future, a lot. And I think about me when I'm done fighting. I think about me when I get to the end of my life. I think about me when my sons are grown, and when I think about me and all these different things. So, I mean, I think about that almost every single day, and it wells up nerves inside of me to make sure that I'm making the right decisions today, to make sure that those fears that I have of me underperforming or not reaching my full potential or not giving my all, don't happen. But from a practical standpoint, there's not many things that make me
Mine
nervous.
was karaoke, so.
Yeah, I know exactly. Or I don't know.
Doom.
If me and my wife have to have a hard conversation, I get really nervous.
Ooh,
about that.
yeah.
It's
No matter,
tough.
you could be the toughest guy in the world.
Dude, it's
when you got to do the hey baby, we got to talk, or you get the hey baby, we got to talk. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, like dang it, dude. Yeah, it's like I could go fight in front of millions of people, but I just talked to this little 5'5" girl right now, who loves me no matter what. I could be like, we still got to have a conversation.
Oh, the worst. That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one. I'll put that off, and I'll go fight in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go fight for a second. Do something easier.
We got to wrap up. We always ask all of our guests for a fun fact. So you got one for us?
Yes, I do.
Hit me.
Okay. Contrary to popular belief, the national animal of the country of Scotland
Popular belief. I don't even know. What is the
is a
popular
unicorn.
belief?
Is a unicorn.
No way.
Most would say William Wallace or Mel Gibson, but it's the unicorn.
The official, real
Yes, that's what
thing is a not real.
I'm
animal.
pretty sure. That's how real Scotland is. I'm not even sure if Scotland is even a real place. Actually, at this point, now that is it like Oz? Is it like Narnia?
Some shit?
Actually, no, but I'm pretty sure that's that's what it is.
That's a good one.
The
Great one.
unicorn.
Yes, fact check that for me, ladies and gentlemen.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Yeah, the
There you go.
national animal of Scotland is a unicorn.
That's
Yes.
crazy. Scotland.
Yeah,
You gotta get to Scotland.
Scotland's like gluing horns to something.
I know,
Bro,
exactly.
if you told someone who wasn't aware of Scotland, as you're saying, the dudes wear skirts, they play these bagpipes.
paint
Here's
your
our favorite
face.
music.
There's sheep fucking everywhere. They wheel cheese around.
They drink
and,
warm beer.
and unicorns.
And then you got
You're right. Actually, they're a walking. Yeah, they're a contradiction.
That's an acid
It's
trip,
Narnia.
dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Great one, man. I like that.
Yeah, there we go.
Fun fact, unicorn.
That's your fun fact.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys.
Michael.
That is good.
All right, big thanks for watching. If you made it through this whole episode, that means you should be subscribed. There's so many of you out there who watch and don't subscribe, so make sure you are a KFC Radio subscriber. Make sure you get all the content when it drops. Click that button now.
I have 9 fingers. I'm still subscribed. It's that easy.